So I've been in the business for 21 years and I've learned a lot. And I've learned that I used to um, not have purpose inside of my business. And once I finally realized that, oh, wait, the tools and the models are already created for me and I don't have to reinvent the wheel, everything got so much easier for me. And the GPS and the 411 are these tools that our company use. And some people, they'll hear about them and they're like, yay, great. Or they'll have a coach that will have them do these exercises. And then it sits on your desk or on a shelf or in a book and you never come back to it. Well, I just didn't want to keep doing that because I was doing it. I was filling out this tool, completing this exercises, and then I wasn't being purposeful with it and putting it into action. Finally, one time I asked my coach, I said, please help me create a powerful and purposeful GPS that means that I have a purposeful 411. So each week when I'm updating all of the activities and tasks that I need to be doing to help me reach this week's goals, this month's goals, and then eventually this year's goals, that I achieve my goals, then it will actually get me into action so I can see where I am along the way. And I want to update it. So that's where we are today. I had done this presentation with our friend James Shaw and Nakia Dollar. It's still on the YouTube. You can find it. And it's a great way to kind of hear the overview of both sessions. I'm going to do the GPS today, and then I'm going to update a 411 exercise and presentation, and I'll get that out to you guys here soon. You can join me again. So let's get started here. Okay, so I found this quote here in the front of chapter. In the front of the chapter in the one thing on all about living your purpose. Because here's the deal: you can be really a focused, great human being, but if you're not living in your purpose, then you're going to get to this point where you're grinding it for no reason and you burn out. And I speak from experience because I did that. And so this is a George Bernard Shaw quote: life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. So let's create the best version of yourself now and not wait until later to figure all these things out. So whenever you're thinking about building this tool and that's going to push you forward with success, you have to remember, though, that everything starts with your mission, your purpose in life. Now, this can sound really scary and overwhelming, but you do need to have a big why. At least that's what Gary tells us at the front of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And for years and years and years, I was never motivated by what I thought was a big why. I just wasn't really feeling it. And I didn't know what it would take for me to discover and tap into my big why. Well, eventually I was just asked the question in a different way, and it made me start thinking about, okay, wait, what if instead it wasn't about why do I earn money from this business, but instead, what do I get to do with that money? And what do I enjoy doing, even if I wasn't paid to do it? And then can I put that into my business so that I enjoy myself and have fun along the way? And that's where I am today. I'm living my purpose today by empowering and sharing with agents across the country and now the world of just the tools and hacks that I've learned so that you can start enjoying your best life now. You don't have to wait for it. So here's just a couple things that I found in my research. Your mission is your compass, and it points you in the direction of what matters most in your life. Knowing your mission ensures that you are appropriate in the moment and acts as a filter for what you say yes to. High achievers are working for a big why. It's all about having a purpose, a mission, or a need that in turn gives you focus. And now high achievers always have a big why powering their actions. So what is driving you to live your best life? A lot of times we struggle with this. We don't know how we can figure it out. Well, I got to a point where I made a choice. I decided average was not okay because I was absolutely living an average life. And once I got to this company, honestly, Keller Williams for me is the company that I chose because I was taught how to run a business, how to build a business, a big business, one that actually can make $1 million. And we have here the past few years in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I otherwise, before then, was not going forward with any real purpose in my life. And I made a decision. So you guys are here today and you're watching this. So I know that there's more in you too, and that you desire to not settle for the status quo. Now, I'm going to also make some assumptions. Now, if you're new to real estate or new to this company, these are things you may not know yet, but this gives you some homework to work on or some book clubs to start. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is our real estate Bible here at Keller Williams, at least. It should be for all realtors, but it really does line out for you the very simple steps. You just do need to get into action. And there's 4 models. You first think $1 million, then you net $1 million, then you receive $1 million. And dang it, if you don't get to finally give $1 million, which is the ultimate goal. So inside of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, one of the best hacks that I didn't know was even in the book until years later, because I never made it all the way to the end, on page 308, is the Millionaire Real Estate Energy Plan. Now, in this energy plan, there's 5 energies that if you just simply time block those into your morning routine, your life will change. I'll just read those to you, just if you need the reminder. So the first energy is meditate and pray for your spiritual energy. Exercise and eat for your physical energy. Hug, kiss, and laugh for your emotional energy. Plan and calendar for your mental energy. And lastly, lead, generate for your business energy. All 5 of those are a time block on your morning routine during your work week, and they all will happen before 11 a.m. And that is where you focus on living your best life, because then everything else will fall into place. So getting those energies in is super important. Now, The One Thing is an amazing productivity tool. It's a book by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, and it's what's really helped change my life, because that's what the GPS comes from. We're going to talk all about that today. And inside of that book on page 77 is a very powerful story, and it's that time waits for no one. We don't know when our last day on this earth will be. So why are we waiting to do all the things that we've ever dreamt of? Why are we waiting? Let's just put them on the calendar and make them happen now. And we know that we have to have purpose, because otherwise purpose without priority is powerless. Now, there's a class called Quantum Leap, and we even have a version for young adults, QL for young adults, that I'm a teacher for. If you are interested in becoming an instructor with us, it's really easy to sign up. You just go to kwkc.org, become an instructor, or even find an event. And I'm certain that you could, even as an adult, hop in on some virtual events if you were just curious about what's going on. Just reach out to the instructor in advance and let them know, because mainly it's for young adults. And then I'm also going to make an assumption that you know that the job description of a real estate agent is to lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice your scripts and role play. So again, these are time blocks into your calendar. Now, there's another thing that's really important that's going right along with my assumptions. I'm going to assume that you understand that the 6 personal perspectives are success principles. And when you apply these to your day and your week, for sure, into your month and your year, you're going to see a difference in you. So that's committing to work on yourself through self-mastery. This is committing to the 80-20 principle, which just means you're going to time block your most important activities and do those first. Now, you're going to also move from your natural entrepreneurial self to your purposeful self. That means becoming just who you are naturally to being an on-purpose person. And how you get there is from adding in some systems, some tools, some people to help you get better. Being a learning-based person means that you know that there's always more to know, and you are here today, so that means you are learning-based. Removing these limiting beliefs, these are the thoughts that hold you back from your greatness. And maybe it's something you're putting yourself down about, or a negative thought about somebody else. Whatever it is, there is no room for negativity in this brain. You just got to push it on out every time that it comes in, and it will come in. Just get it on out as fast as possible. And then being accountable. The accountability piece is what's changed my life. Of course, all of these have been a part of it, but once I realized that when I would enlist the support of another human that is my partner in helping me achieve these goals and these dreams that I say are important to me, that is when everything is changed. I've had a business coach since 2011, never ever having a gap in between the accountability. And it needs to be, for me at least, somebody that I pay and somebody that I kind of fear, that I look up to them, that if I let them down, it would really hurt me. So that's just a little tip from what I've learned. And the three that are asterisked here are from the one thing, as the 6 personal perspectives have been taught throughout Keller Williams history, and they're inside of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they're inside of the one thing, they're inside of Quantum Leap, they're inside of Shift as well. So make sure that you are using the perspectives for your own plan. Now, when we're talking here today about the GPS, the G is a goal, one goal. So today I want you to think big around this idea, because Gary says that annual goal setting shouldn't be, what's my goal for this year? It should be, where am I on the path of my end goal? See, whenever you live this really big life and decide that average is not okay, you understand that you got to do a little work first. And it's always going to start with your mission and your purpose. So there's a difference. I'm going to share some slides here that are from the QL for young adults class that we teach, because we actually train our youth on how to tap into their personal mission statements. And before we get into goal setting, the goal setting exercises for you, you got to understand there's a difference between a goal and a mission. Goals are great, and typically they are on the path of getting you to your mission. And so remember, a goal is something, it has an end result and it can be done. Check. Did I complete that goal? Yes or no? A mission goes on forever. It's always in progress. It's always moving. You can never quite reach it. And that's okay, because it keeps you moving forward and it is your life purpose. So this is just a quick exercise. I'm going to share these slides with you so that you can come back, replay this, and take some thinking time to really tap into your personal mission. Because before we get to the GPS, we got to get to your why. So here's your exercise. Step 1, identify what you feel connected to. What topics are you drawn to? What's most important to you? Which causes are you most passionate about, and why? What impact do you desire to have on others or in the world? That's step 1. I'm not going to give you a lot of time for timing's sake today, but come back to this exercise. But maybe something just popped in your mind. What am I connected to? And then step 2 is to uncover your unique gifts. So what just already comes easy to you? What gives you energy and fuels you, fires you up? Is there something that you would do even if you weren't paid to do it? And if your creator came to you in a dream and told you you were put on this earth for a specific purpose, what would they say? So you got step 1, you got step 2, and you're going to put those together to create your mission statement. So the mission for my life is whatever your answer to step 1 was, by implementing or through or with whatever your answer to step 2 was. That is how you come up with your mission statement. So you are going to work on your mission statement. This may not be a right this minute thing. And we also like to remind everyone, you're just dating your mission statement. It could take several drafts for you to get through. So let me see here. I'm going to share with you my personal mission statement. There it is. Okay, so it's gone through so many different versions here. So here's my most recent: to empower others to discover their possibilities and tap into their potential through the training that I like to do and the modeling, and giving permission to live their best life now. So that is my mission in life. And you guys allowing me to share here today is keeping me on path of that mission. I'll never achieve it. There'll be more people to help and to give back to. So that's just an example for you. So use the So use the 7 circles to help you start to think through what really matters to you in this lifetime. I mean, if you were to tap into all of your potential and your possibilities, have you even gone there in your mind? So the tool that I like to use is from the One Thing once again, and it is on page 114, and it's the 7 circles. So you guys are going to have a link to this. You're going to be able to have some more thinking time, as we like to say, to work through this exercise on your own. So maybe it's this weekend, fresh in your mind, you can just time block it and work through it. So if you took 7 sheets of paper, now these are the 7 from, the book, The One Thing. You can add more, you can change them, you can eliminate some of these, whatever is most important to you in your life. You take the 7 sheets of paper and you have each category at the top of that paper. And then you're going to work through each of them in your dreaming. So imagine 20 years from now, how old will you be? And what do you desire for your life to look like in your spiritual life, in your physical health, in your personal life, etc.? And you just journal. That's what I did. The first time I did this exercise back in 2018, I locked myself in my office on the weekend with some quiet time, and I worked through this exercise. I just dreamt really big. What do I want my life to look like? And then from there, you can come and continue to work through this exercise called goal setting to the now. So with the goal setting to the now exercise, this is dreaming really big into the future, envisioning your best life in all those areas of your life. So you're a whole person. You're not just a working person or a physical person or a spiritual person. You're all of these things together. So the goal setting to the now exercise is one where you're thinking big, you're going small, you're connecting today with all of your tomorrows, both personally and professionally. And so by doing that, I've created, this template was already created. I just tweaked it a little bit, because if you think about it, you've got some professional goals. You're a business person. So of those 7 circles, the business category, your job, and your financials could be your professional goals. Now, you could also have some financial personal goals as well, but this is where you would write what are some future goals in those areas of your life. I put 2042. This would be 20 years from now. This is the dreaming really big. And then when it comes to your personal goals, those are the other circles that relate to more personal things, like your physical health and fitness, and your spiritual life, and your personal and key relationships. Now you're just going to keep chunking it down. So you've dreamt really big. You're going to chunk it down to, okay, 5 years from now, what are some goals that I would like to achieve that would get me to that 20-year goal? And then we chunk it down again to a 1-year goal. So what could I do this year that will help me be on the path to that 5-year goal, which is getting me to my eventual 20-year goal? So that is the whole idea and thinking around goal setting to the now, to get you to build a powerful and purposeful GPS for today. But we're going to use the focusing question. And this focusing question comes from the one thing. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So we're to use the focusing question, you're going to do it thinking big at the someday goal. What's the one thing I can do that I want to do someday? Then my 5-year goal, based on my someday goal, what's the one thing I can do in the next 5 years? So you guys get it. You're just going to keep asking yourself these questions to work down and to work through the goal setting to the now exercise. So I just decided I'd share some examples with you guys. So back when I was doing this, I do this every year, but back in 2018, it was at the end of the year, in between that holidays, when it was a little bit quieter. And so I was dreaming really big in the physical area of my life. And see, I was pretty just average in my exercise and my nutrition. I'm blessed enough that I'm little enough that I can get away with things, but as I've aged, my metabolism is slowed down a bit or whatever, things aren't where they used to be. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I want to be. And so my someday goal, way out into the future, is that I am strong. I feel good in my body. And so my someday goal is to be strong and physically fit in my older age. Now, that's not super metric based, but for me, it was just okay, if that's the vision of how I'd like to look and feel, and I journaled out, all of the things, then where do I need to be in 5 years to be on that path to being strong and physically fit in my older age? Well, I need to have healthy habits, and I need to feel good in my body and have my clothes fit that I'm proud of myself, that motivates me to keep going. And so in that thinking big time, I knew that I wanted to do something to really push myself to get me to have these healthy habits to feel strong in my body. Well, I am crazy enough that I decided that I should run a marathon when I was at the time had not even run a mile in probably 10 years. So running a marathon was quite a stretch goal for me. And it really messed with my mind, but I knew that I could do it. So I set this really big goal. I enlisted the help of a coach, and then he helped me set a goal of running a marathon. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but then whenever I'm chunking down the goal setting to the now exercise, you would then say, okay, well, if that's the 1 year goal, what do I need to do this month to be on the path of being able to run a marathon in a year? Well, I need to establish a plan. I need to track the metrics. I need to figure out how to do all this. And then this week, well, I need to get somebody who can tell me what to do and hold me accountable, because I know accountability is key to everything. And really, I got to start running. So, that app Couch to 5K, that's how I started running. I'm at least going to get myself back in the habit of running, even if it's some baby steps, which it literally was baby steps. And then so what today's goal would be is that maybe I could just talk to somebody today. Is there somebody who has run a marathon or run long distances that can start giving me some ideas around how I even get going in this crazy idea that I've had? So inside of setting a big goal, like running a marathon, which is kind of just a placeholder for you, don't go run a marathon unless you really want to, but which I know you can, of course, you totally could, but instead just use a placeholder for something that's big and scary that makes you get a little uncomfortable, because it's really fun when you prove yourself right. But inside of your goal, it needs to be smart, specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic. Is it realistic? It was, but I don't know. I'm not going to do it again. And it's time bound. There is a date that you can achieve this goal. So whenever we're getting to our GPS now, this is the fun of getting to why you're here today. You are going to have a 1 year goal. For me, in this example, it's running a marathon. And it should be, and let me go. So you're going to have a goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies. So here's chunking it down here. So your 1 year goal should be specific and measurable, time bound, big enough to require several areas of focus, but not too big that it requires more than 4 areas. There's a reason, because you want to be able to just have 3 priorities inside of that one big goal and have them in order of importance. So if you could only knock out the first priority, it would still help you achieve that goal. Now, the strategies, it's really 3 to 5. It doesn't have to be 5 strategies. It's just getting you to have enough different ideas or steps to take to get you to achieve that priority, which helps you achieve that goal. Now, this was my example of running a marathon. Sometimes for me, a GPS, like you saw the rules that we just had, but sometimes just throw those rules out first and just brain dump. Just write down, okay, what are all the different areas and ideas that I have? And then you can kind of rearrange them to be the most powerful and purposeful, which is what the point of today is. So to tell you the truth, the most important priority for someone to run a marathon, at least for me, was having the right accountability and mindset. I don't know if you've run a long distance or not, but it can really mess with your mind. You really start doubting yourself, or you start feeling the pains in your body. And if your mind is not strong, you're not going to make it. So having a coach, a running partner, maybe posting on social media for support or accountability. You want to know the apps to track, and you want to read and listen to positive books and really practice mindfulness and stretching. That was key, which I didn't know it was, but I discovered it over time. And then the next priority was creating a plan. How am I going to even do this? And what do I need to be focusing on inside my body and outside my body? That's even just the shoes that I wore, or the clothes, or the accessories, or the tools or technologies that I needed. And then really the third priority was to track the metrics. To be honest, all of these go together, and there isn't really one that's more important than the other when running a marathon. They all play a part. So whatever your goal is, you're going to find that the different priorities are all important in helping you achieve your goal. Now, if it is a powerful enough priority, it could just take one out of the three, or maybe two, or maybe each of them alone could help you achieve your goal. You get to decide how that works out. So here's just the tips before we get into this exercise. So create a 1-year plan by identifying your goal. And you're going to use that goal setting to now exercise that we just did. You're going to establish the priorities, 3 to 4 areas of focus, and then determine your strategies. So the strategies, I heard Gary Keller say recently, and I never heard it before. He called strategies your steps, the steps that you take. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense. The step I'm going to take to achieve this priority, which helps me achieve this goal. So will the answer be that when you've completed this, will it be yes or no? That's the point of a GPS. These are tasks, priority strategies that have you achieved the goal, yes or no? Do I have complete control over these strategies? You must have the control. And then have I identified the timeline for completing it? Everything must be able to be completed. And then you get into the time blocking part. So the time blocking is where you take what matters most inside of those strategies, and you put them on your calendar, because if you're doing these strategies, the steps that are needed, that was built based on your someday goal, then where you are today, it has been chunked down that those are your lead dominoes that are putting you on the path. So some days I'll honestly look up, be like, am I moving forward in my business or in my personal life? And I'll go, well, wait, actually, I based my annual goals on my future self and my dreams and my goals. So yes, I feel that today's activities, because they were time blocked based on my GPS and my 411, that I am on the right path. So have faith that you are moving forward. So first, I'll just share with you guys, I shared with you the example of running a marathon. I just like using that because everybody can see there's metrics inside of it. You need to be able to run 26.2 miles on one day, which I ended up doing. So I did run the New York City Marathon on November 8th, 2019, less than a year from when I had the crazy idea to do it. And I had never really run before. So it can be done. Now I'm not going to do it again. But I did get to stretch myself to be on the path of having healthy habits so that in 5 years from now, I am stronger and healthier, which now it's actually probably the 5 years from 2018, 19, 20, 20. Yeah, pretty much. I'm on the path and I got to keep going, right? So but the other thing to think about is you can have business GPS. You can have personal GPS. Remember the 7 circles? You could have a GPS for each area of your life. And then whenever you chunk it all down, just time block into your calendar all of those most important activities. And that's what's going to keep you pushing forward. So for a real estate agent, I heard this from a bold coach years ago, and I love the idea. You know, the most important thing that we need to know and stay on top of inside of our business are leads, listings, and leverage. Gary says so in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That's the foundation of our business, the triangle. So how many leads do we need to generate this year to achieve our annual goal? And maybe you're going to base your goal on the number of families that you serve, or maybe it's the volume or the money that you make, whatever your goal is. Think about it. How many leads do I need to generate? And how am I going to do it? How many listings do I need to take, buyer or seller listings? And how am I going to do that? And then what leverage do I need in my life? That's a system, a tool, a model, and a person. And how am I going to leverage my life so that I am on track to achieve this annual goal? So what this looks like, and this is just an example, and I've put it all on one page because, as Gary says, we need to all be on the same page. So you can just see that this is an example. You guys do not have to use this, but it is just a way to think about having a GPS for your business goals. This is business. So our goal is to help 190 families. And if we're going to do that through our leads, our listings, and our leverage, then how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to lead generate to our Met database, or we're going to invite them to an event or have a script. So this would be your quarterly call. And now, is that time blocked? And then are you tracking it each week, each month, each year, which we'll get to your 411, which is another session. But then we have our rock stars. These are our VIPs. These are our, cheerleaders and supporters in our business. How can we extra love on them that we generate leads and referrals from them? We're going to have a plan in place. So this is just an overview and an idea of how you could take leads, listings, and leverage as your priorities, and then you get to brain dump the strategies inside of each. You get to determine, who and how and when you're going to do all these different things. It doesn't have to be at the same time. It could also always have a who written off to the side, like who is responsible for this, or by when. I'm just adding this as I go. By when, and you're going to ask yourself these questions, and they're going to get time blocked. They're going to be put on a calendar. They all don't have to be put on the calendar for tomorrow or next week, but they can be into the future. Now, what we do every year as a team is every 6 months we meet and we either have a mid-year review or an end-of-year review and a reset. So if we're halfway through the year and we go, oh, wait, we are off goal. What do we need to adjust? How do we need to change things? Or do we need to ditch this? Or do we need to add something? And this is the fun part about our business, is you get to decide. Nobody else has to tell you what you need to be doing. You get to decide. So that's an example for you guys on a business. But then over time, here's what's happened to ours. So ours started out as like a one-pager and a way for us to kind of place our ideas each year. And then each year we just make a copy of it and we keep adding to it, plussing or minusing different things. But over time, you could always have it evolve into a really big living document of all the things you do in your business. So now what we do is we get really clear, because see, this economic form that you guys can have access to is a exercise from from a coach years ago. So every year I just make a copy and plus it and add to the numbers, and it just crunches out for us how many seller listings we need to take each month and how many buyers in order to achieve our goals. Now, this is an older version, so you guys can make a copy and plug in your own numbers, but what's cool about it is what we call our locker combination. So I can see that each month on our team, in order to achieve our goal of the number of families we want to help, that we need to generate 10, we need to take 10 seller listings, it's right here, I'm rounding up, and 13 buyer listings, the listing contract, an agreement with a buyer or a seller that they're going to work with us. And then we need to get 21 under contract, and that would be somewhere, be doing the math up here. And that's how many need to get under contract each month. And then we plan for some fallout. So you need to close 18 a month. Okay, that may sound like a lot and may sound a little confusing, but it gives us so much clarity just to know that we just have to focus on taking listings. We don't have to focus on anything else. But if we're going to go back to our GPS, we know that we need to generate 477 leads this year to help us achieve our goal of helping that many families. Yeah, it's a lot of numbers, but once you get clear on it, it's so empowering just to say, oh, that's all I need to focus on. So same holds true then for the listings taken. We know how many listings we need to take because we have the economic model that tells us how many we need to take, and then how are we going to take them? We're going to lead gen. We're going to promote our buyer listings. We're going to market around each of our current listings. We're going to do open houses. We're going to market all the stuff, right? So the clarity is power here when it comes to it. And here's just the last slide that I threw in because I wanted you guys to see this can be purposeful for your business life, for your personal life, but also what about for your mission? So when I shared with you my mission, so I got clear on who I desire to be in the future. How am I going to live my mission inside of this world today? So I get to live my mission through my real estate team. I get to lead them and empower them to tap into their potential and their possibilities. And I do that through training and coaching and modeling them and allowing them to live their best life now. It's important to us on our team that we have connection and accountability and really encourage each other. And then also my other passion would be through agents like you guys. So whether you're in my local community or out of town realtor or in another part of the world, I get to share and live my mission through you guys as well. And then lastly, through my community, my local Tulsa community. So having a purpose and a plan of how I'm going to live my mission here at home as well in my community. So just a different way to think about things. What's fun is that you can use a GPS for all things. I have literally used a GPS for my daughter's birthday party. When Mia told me she wanted to make lip gloss and have a business, we GPSed it on all the things she needed to think about in order to be successful. You can do it for your own client events, which I've always done, which means we have the goal, and that's to give away 100 pies for Pie Day and have fun while doing it. So what are the before, the during, and the after priorities and strategies inside of each that you don't want to forget about? So those are some fun examples for you as well. So now you guys have a lot of homework. You're going to think really big. You're going to tap into your mission. You're going to do the goal setting of the now. You're going to create at least a business GPS for you to finish out this year or even push through to the next year's goal and having you on the right path. That then once you have that, you would take those strategies and those priorities, and they become big rocks inside of your 411, which is a tool for another day. But I wanted just to share all this with you. This is what I've discovered through these years. And I would love to hear some ahas and some conversation around what you guys think.